If the audio sounds a little bit weird today, it's because I've moved my microphone for this video. Don't ask why, I'm just testing some things to try and eliminate background noise, although usually I get rid of it post-edit, but you know, whatever, just bear with it, please and thank you. Also, this video is actually back to being scripted again, so before we get started today, shout out to my own subscription button. Clicking on it brings me ever so close to parental acceptance, so thank you a bunch. Anyway, Barbarians have recently been buffed, and that warrants an entire video in my opinion. The DPS is pretty damn insane now. They do about 565, which is way more than a P.E.K.K.A. She only does about 67% of this at 476 DPS. That makes Barbs pretty damn powerful for 5 Elixir. Because they're a rather beefy swarm, they possess the ability to body block smaller win conditions from getting to the tower. Although that's not really a key feature, it comes in very handy against things like Hogs and Rams. However, their troop versus troop combat isn't the best. They take a while to actually engage an attack, and have a relatively low base attack damage. They don't even one-shot goblins, meaning they get stuck on this swarm for probably a little bit longer than they should do. Despite this, they're very good on your own side of the board. Of course, they only target ground, so it won't help you out against decks such as Lava Hound, but when you look at cards like P.E.K.K.A, it doesn't stop them from being top meta. Against most air units, they actually act rather well as a counter. They can fully stop even a minion horde through sacrificing themselves, or can pull them apart and go counter-attack too. Both options cost the same, but one will take a bit of damage to gain a bit. It really depends on your scenario within the game, but either way, it's pretty mad that Barbarians can counter a horde. With this said, they'll obviously do nothing when facing an air unit on the other side of the board. It's just manipulation of your crown towers that make Barbs so versatile on defense. Against troop targeters, there's just one unit that Barbs will not counter. From minion hordes to P.E.K.K.A s, Mega Knights and Royal Recruits, all of these will fall, but split 3 Musketeers offer just too much DPS for the Barb squad to fully take down. However, that's not really a negative. Nobody really uses 3 Musketeers and they'll only get 2 shots in anyway. Even without killing 3 Musketeers, that still leaves a ton of troops that Barbarians are good against. A lot for a positive trade too. They might just be one of the most versatile defensive units out there. Even flying machines, mega minions, baby dragons, electro dragons, inferno dragons, minions, and bats won't get through sacrificial barbarians. Again, pretty mad for a ground unit. Defense isn't all they can be used for either. In a pinch, it's totally okay to split these boys in the back as an investment. Their slow movement speed matches that of Royal Recruits, and their main purpose is to split and invest. This split means that your opponent will have a difficult time punishing, as they have to push into at least 2 Barbarians. This either grants you value, or they decide not to punish and you're totally free to push in with your high elixir investment within both lanes. Of course, this isn't their ideal usage though. I would only recommend using offensive Barbarians when your opponent is running a deck that doesn't enable you to use defensive Barbarians, these being Lava Loon, Bay, or maybe Miner. The most important part of this card that I have purposely left until last is the health that it has, or more specifically, the health that they no longer have. They're pretty squishy when compared to the old Barbs now. Just a few reference points: they get 1 shot by P.E.K.K.A, 2 shot by Prince, 3 shot by Wizard, and 4 shot by Musketeers. However, the single most important change is that they now die to Fireball. Why is this important? Well, it allows you to harness the power of Fireball bait. Cards classified as Fireball bait are ones that are generally weak to Fireball, but will gain a ton of value once the spell is out of hand. These being Magic Archer, Flying Machine, Royal Hogs, Elixir Collector, Minion Horde, 3 Musketeers, and probably a bunch of others that I'm too lazy to include. Using Barbs on defense means that your opponent's win condition is probably countered and set to not do a ton of damage. Your opponent now has 2 options. They either let their win condition die and stop you from producing another Fireball bait card, or they can Fireball your Barbs, get a little bit of damage, but be under threat from your ensuing Fireball bait cards. It's a tough choice to weigh up, but essentially you just have to get more damage from them using a Fireball than they did. That's all I have for the usage of Barbarians, but I have a small bit extra to say as an outro now. I won't go into too much detail because I did an entire video in the top right about this concept, but really I think the whole idea of Barbarians fueling Fireball bait is toxic for the game itself, and don't really feel as though this buff was required. Of course, it ended up reducing the dominance of cards like Barbarian Barrel and Battle Ram, but just increases the problem in Fireball bait instead. That's arguably worse in my opinion, but hey, we'll see how the meta develops over time. We'll also drag a comment of the day from that previous Barbarian video, and this one comes from Determined Games. He asks why Barb cards are generally OP, and it's probably to do with them all being linked. If the unit of Barbarians is way too strong, then all of the cards involving Barbarians are going to be strong too. As for Elite Barbs, well, their problem is just being a common card and nothing to do with actual Barbs, but you know, it makes sense. Anyway boys, thank you all for watching today, and peace.